Hello, everyone, and welcome to our media talk show at Pod TV. I am one of the founders and your host today, Kimberly Calhoun. And joining us today, all the way from Canada, is Sasha. We're having a bit of an unusual day today because a lot of people are out, but help me join our beloved Sasha, who is the host of our Ukraine and Russia show, as well as Modern Investing with Sasha and Chess with Sasha. So, Sasha, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much. How are you doing today?
Um, it's been an interesting day, to say the least. I don't know what happened to everyone, but everyone seemed to be busy today. But I'm just, making things go. What's going on new in your part of the world?
In our part of the world, it's very quiet as usual. Canada is, although it's on by territory, it's a huge country, probably second in the world after Russia. But the population is relatively very small for that size of country. And most of the population are located near the border with the United States at Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, three biggest city. And other than that, there's not much really going. Canada doesn't have a distinct a policy, whether it's economic policy or social or anything like this. It's more of a follower than initiating any policies. And thank God, we don't need initiatives. Even if we do have sometimes, it's always backfires. And this, our Prime Minister, Trudeau, everybody is dreaming how to finally replace him, and hopefully in 1925 it's going to happen. But it didn't it didn't work out for so many times now. So we'll see what's happening the next year. And now, of course, there is a U.S. election coming up in 2024. Uh, I've heard a little bit of your previous broadcast with David Walker and about this no how is it, no choice party, no labels, no labels, and it's not party, it's kind of a movement of some kind. It sounds all pretty good, very reasonable. It's very difficult even to find any um, arguments against it. It's just that it seems to me that the U.S. political system is traditionally two-party system, and it just doesn't allow for anything else, even remotely. Although I could be wrong, because Ross Perot, he had um, sizable chunk of votes. I remember it was what around 20%, 22 maybe even of popular vote. That's an incredible number. But I don't think that anybody since then was trying to put a certain alternative there. So I don't know how it's going to work this year. What do you think, Kim?
I don't know. But before we move to what I think, let's join in another guest all the way from Durham, North Carolina. One of our other producers, Jatovi McDuffie. Welcome, Jatovi. How are you doing?
Pretty good. What about yourselves?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm in Winston-Salem this morning, helping out with a flooding situation, but we got it under control. But you know, we've got a lot going on in 2024. And Sasha brings up a good point. Sasha, ask that question again. I
My
can't hear
question
you.
was that, can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Something went wrong technically.
Some,
Try again.
it sounds on the line with you, Kim, because
Hey,
generally can hear me. Okay. I asked Kim
I think we're
about this.
having technical difficulties today. Sasha?
Yeah, can you hear me? No?
No, I can't hear you. Can you
Yeah,
jump out
yeah.
and jump back in and see if that
I
fixes? Or are you mute? I don't see you muted.
Because I can hear Sasha. I don't know if Kim, are you able to hear anybody?
Sasha, can you?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Sasha? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to let you two talk. I'm going to dive out.
Okay. Basically, I asked Kim because she was in a previous program with David Walker, and he was talking about this third options, so-called no labels. It's not even a party; it's no labels movement. That's what he's talking about, and. Except Ross Perot in 1992, who's got about 20% of, probably even 22% of popular vote. I don't remember exactly. I don't remember any situation when a third alternative party or whatever it might be, movement, could get any significant numbers getting right off the ground. I think the political system in US is really favors two-party system. It doesn't have even mechanism for a third party or a movement, or it might be, to have any significant ways to make some inroads. So, in my opinion, what's happened with Ross Perot is it's a phenomenal situation. It's not something that can happen quite often in the United States. What do you think about this?
I mean, we have to be honest. The No Labels is a party. It's not a quote unquote movement. And trying to play it that way is the same way of making that semantic argument that, hey, we're not really a party. We're a movement of people. Well, there are plenty of other movements of people. They're an actual party. And what you're talking about with Ross Perot, Ralph Nader, that's all correct. A third party really will never win, because until that third party actually does what you're talking about, because I mean, the US, yeah, you're right. At this moment, we're set up for a two-party system because that's what we have at the local level, the state level, the federal level, until a third party kicks in. And like if No Labels were to have some individuals on school boards, then the state election or local city elections, then judgeships, and then they move up and create a party. The Green Party, if they actually had, the Green Party actually has a better chance if No Labels were to co-opt with the Green Party and push from there, because the Green Party actually has a few people at the state and local levels. But to come in, and it was just that Ross Perot was a millionaire, and he had a ton of money that funded that campaign. And No Labels doesn't have that. And sure, people right now are upset at both Biden and Trump being the two at the top of the ticket. But again, right now, we have a two-party system. Throwing in a third party is only going to swing it for one party or the other.
We have three parties in Canada. Three major parties are Conservatives, Liberals, and so-called NDP. It's a New Democratic Party. What's new about it, I'm not sure, but it's New Democratic Party, NDP. And right now, there is a ruling coalition is the Liberals and NDP, because neither has majority, but together they do have technical majority, so they rule, and 25 we have election. Okay, fine, that's well, I mean, in Israel there are probably well over 50 different parties, and whoever wins majority of votes not necessarily will form the government, because some coalition is being arranged and so on. It's a very complicated process. Now, what's happened in US, it's never been tested, but let's see if somebody gets 30%, another one guy gets 30%, another one, say 40%. Okay. And then what's happened? Is it second round, or is it one who has 40% has to form coalition with another one of the guys who has 30%? How does it work in reality? It's never been tested, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's never been tested because, again, legitimately, there is no one is going to pick up less than the amount of votes that they need. If it does, then what will end up happening is that I think it's the House It'll go to the House, and then the House votes on. They take the electoral college numbers. Then the House votes on the individual. Basically the House picks the president.
But it's against Constitution. It's the people. We, the people, have to choose.
So that's the electoral college, and that's why a lot of people want to get rid of the electoral college, because you have a lot. So, for example, you have the popular vote winner. The last two times, the electoral college winner and the popular vote winner were not the same. Were under when it was Bush Gore, and it was Clinton Trump. So you have right now another situation where we may come up against where the popular vote winner isn't the actual winner of the presidency. For example, if Trump were to win and Biden gets the popular vote, what's the point of the electoral college if the majority of the individuals are leaning or wanting this other individual? It's the same thing that happens in a lot of states, which people are so mad about the gerrymandering situations and individuals. For example, in North Carolina actually has more individuals that vote Democrat. However, due to the gerrymandering and the way the actual districts are set, more Republicans go to the House and more Republicans go to the Senate, because the way the actual districts are formed and gerrymandered. So you have more individuals that lean that are centrist and lean left than you do that are centrist and lean right. But due to the way that our system is set up, which you're spot on, yeah, our system is broken. The way our system is set up, a lot of the individuals that don't receive the popular vote, which I hate hearing, especially when I hear Republicans say, especially in the House, knowing that this is a gerrymandered situation and more people voted Democrat than they ever did vote red or vote Republican. They say that, oh, it's a mandate from the people to that we have to do. No, the majority of people voted against you. So you have to actually try and work on both sides instead of sitting here saying it's a mandate from the people. No, it wasn't a mandate. It was just a gerrymandered system. So yeah, our system is broken. And again, going back to the third party of No Labels, who the issues that I have with No Labels is that they, like anywhere else, they want to, one, have no labels, yet they want to have, it seems like they want a Republican at the top of the ticket and a Democrat at the second part. Well, if it's no labels, does it really matter? Then on top of that, their policies are so bland. They are more or less the same. They're similar to the same rhetoric that you hear from many politicians, but a lot of it does lean to that right. Don't get me wrong, I love Dave to death, but Dave was a former Republican, and some of his policies still lean to that Republican side.
Absolutely.
And so we cannot be just completely blind to particular things. Like one of the funders, it was written that one of the funders is the same funder that dealt with that is putting Clarence Thomas under investigation, that same individual. So all these things that you're saying is no labels, we just got to be honest about it. And that's why I wish, if it is that bland centrist point and you're going to have that bland centrist view, then be a little bit more transparent. Go ahead and talk about the policies that a lot of things, because abortion is a big issue right now. Put out something. Don't just blandly say that, well, immigration is a big issue. So let's have a true policy on that. Tell me what you're talking about. If you're going to want to convince independents, like, I consider myself more independent, even though I lean to the left. If you're going to convince me, I want the information. I want the context. I don't want the same talking points that I receive from a lot of politicians. So yeah, I've got a lot of issues with it. I want a little bit more transparency and stuff like that. But let's be honest, your party. If you're putting up a candidate, your party.
That's a problem with them. What first of all, he admitted that they have no money. If they have no money, I don't understand what they're talking about. It's just a waste of time of himself and his listeners and whatever. And now, even if they would have the money, although there is very little time left, they don't have any recognizable figures, or maybe they do have, but they don't announce who they are. This is also worried. So it's very, very cowardly approach is to sit, wait, conceal who are the figures until it will become obvious that there is a uproar against both Biden and Trump. And now they're coming with the figures, with the names of the possible president and vice president, everything else is in place. So they are no longer feel threatened by both Biden and Trump. And this is also, I don't know, to me, it leaves aftertaste, really gross. Now, speaking about the border issue, okay, so here is the U.S. Constitution, and according to the Constitution, as I understand it, the border is a federal issue, not the state issue. So, and there was one instance in the history of the U.S., actually in 20th century, there was one instance when federals sent the army to overpower the state. And they did it very quickly, and it was done in less than 24 hours. That was the end of story. And I don't understand why this time it became such a horrible, unresolved issue where a state like Texas says that's what they want to do, and they're doing it, and federals cannot overpower them, and probably they're not even trying to avoid a possible civil war, or how you view it. I don't understand this at all.
It's because of politics. And the Republican Party hitched their wagon to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is bombastic. He burns down everything. He doesn't care about anything but himself. And the Republican Party hitched their wagon to him because the thing Donald Trump is good at, he's a con artist. He's a salesman. And he's convinced his followers that, hey, you know, I'm the savior. I'm Jesus Christ. I'm better than Jesus Christ. I'm Donald Trump. So vote for me. And so they follow behind him. And that is the Republican base now. Because in 2016, when he was running, every single one of them said that he was a problem. Everyone talked about how bad he was. But he, using his language that, you know, calling people names and all this craziness, and that's what people followed behind, and the base followed behind them. The base is the power. So therefore, what ended up happening is the GOP said, okay, we need to figure a way to keep these people. This is the same thing they did when they created the Southern Strategy, when Nixon decided that he's going to grab the disenfranchised individual, the people who felt disenfranchised, those that they're going to grab onto that white anger, and they're going to bring these people into the fold because that's a voting block, and they want that power. They sold their souls to the devil then, and they did it again now. So therefore, what the GOP does, you know, they don't care about anything. So they're burning down the bridges, burning down all the stuff. And so no matter what Donald Trump says, no matter what Donald Trump does, they're going to agree with it and push it along. So all these, you know, everything that you're thinking of, it all wraps back to Trump. And they will blindly defend and blindly justify just because they want the power. I mean, Ted Cruz said, it was Ted Cruz who was so upset at Donald Trump for talking bad about his wife. He was so mad that he endorsed him and will say everything great about him. Ron DeSantis hated being called the sanctimonious, hated being picked on by Donald Trump. yet to turn around and kiss the boot or kiss the ring. He legitimately said at a rally that Trump will do anything. He will be nice. I'm paraphrasing. He'll be nice to you if you just kiss the ring. That's what he did. Tim Scott, this super religious dude, hey, I'm gonna be nice to everybody. Yet he's gonna support the dude that turns around and uses language antithetical to everything that he supposedly preached on his campaign trail. So everything honestly wraps back around to Trump. The base and the power is there behind Trump, and they won't venture away. This is why Chris Christie failed. This is why Nikki Haley, when she starts attacking Trump, this is why she's going to fail. But then you'll see who turns around and kisses the ring, and everything that they said will get ignored. And so everything, that's just the way it is at this moment. And, and these other individuals, if, the Republican parties and were the party of Reagan, as they claim, or the party of Lincoln, Trump wouldn't be there. But they're no longer that. What they are is the party of Trump. They are the MAGA party. They will justify anything for him. So yeah,
we have here a network. I forgot her name. She wrote the book about Lincoln and Trump.
Oh, Gretchen.
Yeah. Something like this. Yeah, that was really funny to put in one book. so
yep.
Opposite people together. But actually, what's the GOP doing with this border issue? It's very, very elegant ploy. So if Biden is not going to do anything about it, they will claim, look at this government, they're so weak, they cannot even do whatever they are according to constitution. They have to take it in their hands. They fail, they cannot do it. Now, if they will say troops to overpower Greg Abbott and his people, they say, look, they start civil war. Look at what they're doing. Let's fight them and so on. So there is almost like no way out for Biden.
You're right. And again, Trump at a rally, I think it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or day before yesterday, told people to blame him for not allowing the federal government to go to the border, and blame him for blocking it because it was a bad deal, because the federal agents don't want $14 billion to help with the border. Yeah, right. Come on, man. So it boils back to whatever Trump's whims are. That's where the Republican Party is going to go. Trump has already told the House to deny the deal. So Trump has also told, I think it was Lee that brought it up a few days ago, talking about what about these other states that are jumping in to block, or that are jumping on Texas's side? It's not that they're jumping in. Trump is telling them to jump in. Trump is commanding those states. Like there was I watched an interview on yesterday, where the governor from South Dakota talked about how, it's such a bad thing at the border, and she had to go down. Woman, you're not at the border. You're in South Dakota. You're in the middle of the country. You have nothing to do with the border. And if you did, then you would ask for Texas to stop blocking the border. You would ask for Texas to stop blocking federal agents to go to the border, because that's what's going on, is that Texas is literally blocking federal agents from doing their jobs. So as you stated, yeah, that's what they're wanting. Trump said he wants chaos at the border so he can run on it. The GOP said that they want chaos at the border. They don't want to give Biden a win. It's not an emergency if you're saying that you want to wait till later. If it's emergency, fix it. It's like saying, okay, well, we got a hole in this boat and we're out in the middle of the ocean. Let's not fix the boat unless you name this person over. If you name Trump the captain, then we'll fix the boat. We'll listen to him all day, but we're not going to fix this boat. We're going to sink. Yeah, okay.
No, that's a continuation of the same policy when Trump was saying that he wants to American economy to collapse the stock market will go down and everybody would suffer, and then he would go against Biden. Look, economy failed, and this economy, in fact, doing fantastically well, so resilient, and corporate profits are incredible. The stock market is getting record closings almost every day. I think for some reason Biden, it's his style maybe, not to drumbeat now, wait till sometimes later in the cycle when it will be more resonating with voters, and so they will remember this. Because if what you say today, economy is booming, it's fantastic, then let's see 2-3 months there will be some recession, for example, say stock market may go on a correction for 10%, and then it will recover. So this 10% fall, the Republicans will say, well, look, it's complete collapse. Look at the Biden's economy. It's down the drain or so on. So in the meantime, it's going up almost every day. Now, I think the weakest link in Biden's armor, it's international politics. It's look at what's happened just now, that 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in the merciless attack by nobody even know who. Attack was by a very powerful drone, and killed 3 people. And from what I heard, was 34 were wounded, and of those, some of them are very, very critical situation. That there could be even more death tolls than 3. And again, there's kind of a very undecisive response from Biden. Nobody knows what to do, against whom to do, and when to do, and if to do. So it's kind of, and you cannot be null and void and quiet about the situation either. So, Stoy, what do you think is Biden's reaction should be?
Well, he's already put out a statement that there's going to be, he's going to go back after them. The tough part he's stuck in is dealing with the Republican House and dealing with the Republicans at this moment. Because if he goes back, for example, the Houthi attacks, when the Houthis were attacking the ships in what was it, in the Red Sea or in the sea, was it the Red Sea? But yeah,
Strait,
Strait of Hormuz. So when the Houthis were attacking those ships, and then Biden goes and attacks those ships, the Republican Party jumped up quick to blame that, oh, well, he's being a tyrant. He's not. He was supposed to go through us, which is true. He needs to go through Congress to grab those war power. I think it's the War Powers Act. He has to go through Congress to get to be able to basically react back. So now he didn't do that, but now to go back at what is from what I understood, the drone attack was from that might have been, they're thinking that it might have been from the Houthis as well, but it was an Iran backed. Well, the Houthis are Iran backed as well.
Everybody is Iran backed. Everybody, doesn't matter. Everybody is Iran backed.
So he's supposed to go through Congress again. He's trying to do it the right way, but now he has to go through Congress. And how can he go through a Republican Congress that won't even fix the border, won't give money to Ukraine, won't give money to Israel, won't give money to Taiwan? They're voting against all of these things. So for him to actually respond now, and him trying to go through Congress to do that, Trump is telling the Republican Party not to do anything for Biden or help Biden. So he doesn't, again, as I said, it all boils back to Trump and how the Republican Party kowtows and takes orders from him like a cult, because they know the MAGA group behind him is the basis for the Republican Party, and they cannot get reelected and stay in power if they do not have, they're not the Trump approved elected official. So right now, unless it's sad, but people are dying due to the fact that Biden has to go through Congress, and Congress is blocking anything that he does based on the fact it's an election year and they're trying to get Trump reelected. It's sad that everything has gone to politics. There are some Republicans in the Senate that have stated, like actually it was Mitch McConnell who's ticked off the Republicans in the House. Even Mitt Romney, but he's not running anymore. He's done after this year. There are a few others that are just ticked off the House Republicans because, for example, everything they've wanted on immigration, they're getting on immigration, but they're not voting for it because it's an electoral win. Everything in terms of the response that needs to happen, that they're speaking that needs to happen, they're voting against because it gives a win in an election year. So everything right now is about politics, and it's sad that that's the way that the U.S. has gotten to. And until we get out of this tribalism, and we cannot both sides this as well. And I have a problem with everybody saying, well, it's both sides. It's not both sides. You legitimately have one side that is saying they will not move unless this man says we can move. That is not a both sides thing. That is one side blocking all the movement. Last year, Congress passed roughly about 28 bills or 29 bills, when normally they average about 100, close to 500-600 bills, because it's a big country and things are going on. Things need to be fixed. And that's the nuance that gets me about our electoral, our citizenry doesn't. We keep talking about that we need to be financially literate and so on and so forth. We can be as financially literate as we want to be if we're still dumb as a doornail being manipulated by individuals just because they are on my team. It doesn't matter. We can be told, we can follow down, and Sasha, you know stocks. If some and what's the dude on Fox with all the buttons, Kramer or whatever his name is, that does all this wild.
No, Kramer is on CNBC. He's on CNBC.
He picks some horrible stocks. He's led some people down the road, a bad road. But you know what? People follow him because he's cool.
He did one right thing, though. He called his dog NVIDIA. That one thing has got right.
Well, you know, and this leads me to the conversation David Walker and I were having, that we're selecting personalities as opposed to who can push our policies that we need to improve our country. And it's very disappointing. I mean, yeah, you got to have a great personality to get out there on the stage. But what we need is somebody who is more interested in unifying the country and uniting us all under some good policies, as opposed to always fighting their way out of prison. So, I mean, and that's all that's going to happen with Trump. You know, he's just going to spend his whole time fighting every one of these cases, and more cases are going to be filed against him. And I think that's just where I think we should just leave him alone at this point. But as a president, he will not be able to serve us because he's always fighting his way out of prison, 1 foot in prison. And then you've got two older men, the same fight, same grumpy old men battling it out for what? They're using the White House as their retirement home so they can just sit there and goof off and play, because they just want to be in the public eye, battling it out, being grumpy, one-upping each other, being angry. Not one time have I really seen either one of them sit down and say, let's just talk about this and work together. Wouldn't that be great? Two people who oppose each other work together.
The funny thing is, though, Kim, if you look at the election that we're at right now, and sure, it may turn out to be Trump and Biden. Everything that you said that we want, because if you look at the speeches just between the two individuals, one talks about hating the other. The other side is a bunch of pedophiles. The other side wants to tear our country down. We got to make. Yet the other dude is quiet in the background, isn't bombastic, and is actually doing the work and actually asking for bipartisanship and asking for these things. People hate him. just because, oh, well, he's old. Oh, well, he's not exciting. He doesn't inspire me. The guys in the background doing the work, like the CHIPS Act helped the country. What Buttigieg is doing with transportation and doing all the things. So the guy is doing actually everything that we've not everything that we've asked, but he's done a really good job. I mean, as Sasha pointed out, the economy's booming. Inflation's coming down. We have the lowest inflation across the G20. But we're actually doing well considering everything that's been put before us. But yet we don't want that. We want the dude that just yells out curse words and calls everybody hateful things.
Right. And it's funny. He'll make up the names about him while he's, speaking. He'll just say out of the blue, well, I've decided to change their name from this to this. And I'm like, that is just not professional. But that's what's happened to our country. These people eat this junk up. Our country has become this junk country. I mean, I look at the foods that are on the shelves, what they're feeding our brains on the networks. It's all about one-upping each other, and we need to stop. We need a very, very strong person who can stand in front of the country and say, let's unite. Let's join hands and work together for your benefit, not for Trump's, because that's what he's here for, not for Biden, because honestly, I think that's what he's here for, but for you. And I think if we can unify our country again, we can pull ourselves out of this mess. I think if David Walker is given some sort of position back at the White House to help us work our way out of it, we can. I don't think David Walker's in it for himself. I do believe, in my whole heart, I believe that all of this is just about themselves. It's about their egos. It's about being able to one-up each other and put each other down. And they've divided our country. They've divided. I mean, look at us. We're fighting in our own country. Our state armies are fighting our federal armies. How disgusting is that? How disgusting.
But the thing is, that gets back to the being honest. And again, there's only one party, one leader who is legitimately pitting everybody against each other. It's not Biden. It is Trump.
Oh, I mean, his whole campaign is based on when we win this, we're going to get back at them. We're going to put them in their place. Who's them? Am I one of them? Because quite honestly, if I am, I'm going to stop paying my taxes if you're going to chase me down and make my life miserable. I don't want to be victimized by your vengeance because you were embarrassed because you lost a campaign. Get over it. He still hasn't got over it. I watched a recent interview of him, about a month ago, but I'll go find it and replay it next week. But it was it was a one-on-one, him and a woman. And she asked him a question. Instead of answering it, he dove right in about not being elected, about, vengeance, it was all about him. And I'm like, you have an opportunity to be one-on-one with a very powerful media person, almost like maybe not Barbara Walters, but you know what I mean. And all you do is throw your ego into it. And people eat this up. And this is what's wrong with our country. You know what, people? You are your own problem, because people can take you to the well to drink the water, but all you're going to do is sit there and complain and make excuses and point blame and point fear and spread fear and poison that well, and you will die of thirst because you're not doing what's right for your country. You're doing what's right for your egos, and that's got to end. That's got to end. It's just got to end.
And but the sad part is, it's not going to until Trump goes away. And Trump,
right.
Trump and Trumpism, because that's
no. Hey, goodbye.
It'd be great if he goes.
It would be very healthy for the United States if Trump would lose election by a landslide. That would not just another victory for Joe Biden, but landslide victory would really pronounce the death of Trumpism. The Trump and Trumpism will be gone. He will be rot in jail, and Trumpism will be defeated as the some kind of a movement or some kind of a religion or anything like that. It's gone. So all this so-called base will be gone. So the Republican Party will have no other choices as to rebuild itself, find the policies that people will support, and really start working. Because right now, nobody is really doing that in the Republican Party when they have Trump, because all their elections, their jobs, their political future all depend on one man, Trump. So they're paralyzed. They're all bunch of cowards. Look at this idiot, Mike Johnson, who is himself. He admitted that on every issue he is consulting Donald Trump. Who is Donald Trump today? He's nobody. He has no title. He is nobody, and most likely will be a convicted criminal very soon. So he is conducting a separate private talks. He's consulting the man who will be very soon convicted criminal. Mike Johnson should be arrested immediately after he admitted that and thrown to jail. Okay, get your lawyer. Try to prove that it's against the law, that you should not be in jail. Maybe a couple of years later, you will prove that you are innocent, that you should not be brought to jail or so on. But in the meantime, you'll spend a couple of years there. That's what should happen. Unfortunately, there's a lot of cowards in U.S. politics today. And look at that goes to the internal politics, it goes to foreign policies. And okay, you know what? I counted that in all these Middle Eastern, particularly all of them Arab countries, there are well over 60,000 troops of the United States. Why do they have to consult somebody like this, Republicans or so on, if they are being attacked? 3 people are killed, 34 wounded. So you with 60,000 force, you cannot respond. You have to ask somebody, go to Senate or to House and to ask the permission or so on. What kind of military is that? Oh my God, this is horrible. And finally, the Pentagon now admitted to that they cannot service and to maintain the weapons that they brought to Ukraine because Pentagon, guess what? Pentagon has no money to do it. So what a to U.S. enemies to say that Pentagon has no money. Listen to that. There is a budget for Pentagon of close to $1 trillion, and they're saying they have no money. Oh my God, this is horrible. I really I feel sick to listen to that.
I mean, so the money thing is always funny to me. Funny money. It's always funny to me, and I always find it interesting because we always find money for wars, but not for the things that we need. For example, education. There's a problem in Durham right now dealing with, back pay of the employee. Well, the pay of the employees, and there was a mishap there, but and they need to fix that for the employees. There's a whole battle around it. But again, if they could find the trillions and trillions for wars, why can't we find the trillions and trillions for healthcare, for education, and all these areas? That's why I'm not really a fan of a quote unquote businessman running, being the president, because usually businessmen turn out to be the worst presidents. It just turns out that way in our history. You had Bush, you had who was Trump, of course, and there were a few others. I think the best business president that we had, honestly, was probably I don't know. That'd be a tough one. Who would be the best business president? Probably
Ronald Reagan, Clinton.
Reagan would. So technically, Reagan was more an actor than he was a business owner. That's usually, and honestly, don't get me wrong. I do think the government can run like a quote unquote business, but we're thinking of the wrong business that it should be run like. It should be more so a nonprofit and not an act and not a box shop or some business like to make money. That's not what a government is about. It's not about making money. The government is about servicing individuals. Hence the reason it should be run more so like a nonprofit organization.
Well, what's the main purpose of existing, for government to exist? It's obviously the army, military force. It's borders. It's provided some necessary things like medicine, like law and order. So, well, there is a judiciary which is independent of government. So there are ingredients of them all. But when the government is trying to do everything for all people at once, there will be contradictions and there will be a lot of frictions and a lot of things that will not be able to work because the contradictions are insurmountable and could not be dealt with. So you have to then have priorities. Now, when you start to dictate priorities, then you obviously please one group of people and you displease another group of people. So that's another thing, what cannot be done. Now, this even simple things like a border issue today, when there is a priority, whether it's a federal government's business or it's a state's business, and nobody wants to yield, and people forget about what Constitution says about it. And even they will recognize what Constitution says about this federal issue. The state may say that, no, we disagree with that, okay? So they're going against the Constitution. So there has to be power which can fight this obvious disregard to Constitution. But if you are not resolved to use your power, then there is no way to defend the Constitution. And if you can't defend the Constitution, then all your structures will fall apart and very quickly. That's unfortunately the way it is.
Yep, because definitely Trump is pushing that way, which is sad. And that's the thing. Everything that he does is antithetical to everything the Republican Party said they were about. We're the party of law and order. Trump has 4 indictments, 90 plus cases. Before he was in office, had been in courtrooms roughly over 1,000 plus times. He's also got a sexual abuse case that he just lost, and also a defamation case that he just lost. But yet we're going to vote for him because we're the party of law and order. We're the party of religion. We believe in God. And high religion. Yeah, we're Christians. Yeah, but we're going to vote for a dude who had an affair on his first wife, had an affair on his pregnant second wife, had an affair on his third wife with a porn star that he paid for. And then he brags about all the sexual misconduct things that he does, bragged about the walking in on naked girls and naked women at his pageants, talks about he would love to have sex with his daughter, but yet we're Christians. We're going to vote for this guy. This guy is our guy. He holds the Bible upside down. Yes, he's a Jesus-loving guy. Like,
that's pathetic. That's
I want to add to what Joe Tovey said, because he is so dead on. He has made the sticker for this. But also consider this. They are 100% pro-lifers, forcing women away from their own pro-choices. And choices, I think, is a violation of constitutional rights as well as HIPAA, regardless of what you believe. I mean, I don't personally believe in abortion, but pro-lifers, here they are. But they're the same people who absolutely have no problems with cutting the budget for domestic violence victims while thousands of children are being, if not millions, being abused every day, as well as the way they're handling the border. These absolute Republicans, whatever you want to call them, who say pro-life, and you're killers, and they're allowing people at the same section of the border to drown. And you know what? You cannot tell me common sense people, use your brain that God gave you. They are not carrying drugs on their back. They're carrying babies and they're drowning, and they stand there. The Texas Patrol stands there and watches a mother and two babies drown. You know what? What pro-life is that? Is that entertainment to you, to force babies to be born so that you can watch them die? Is that entertainment to the God? I don't know. It's disappointing. It's despicable. It's despicable to sit there and know that these people are not migrants. They're refugees. They're not bringing in drugs across that water. Where are the drugs? Come on, people. You're swimming across the water and you're bringing in drugs? Please use your brain. The drugs are coming in through the airport. I know because I worked with the director of the Transportation Authority of Homeland Security, as well as forensics analysis. He was dead set against the catch and release program that David discussed earlier. I'm dead set against it after I saw what happened. I do believe it should be catch and return. But these are migrants they're not migrants. They are the women and children who are being raped and murdered, but on the other side of the border. All this media, they twist everything around. They make you think, oh, this is happening to Americans. No. These are refugees. They're not migrants. And they're using the word, enforcing the word migrant so that they can force certain laws. I'm not for bringing all of these people in here, but I'm for doing it right. But I'm also not for intentionally watching human lives perishing who are trying to seek a safe haven called the United States.
The issue that they are definitely using terminology, illegals,
Yes,
infiltration. This is, all these terms that are terms of war, terms that they're trying to justify invasion. They're trying to justify the abuse that they are doing to these individuals. They are dehumanizing them. This harkens back to our atrocious history around how talking about Black people, talking about anybody that is not white and male. It is sad, but that is our reality, and that is what they do. They have taught the Republican Party, Donald Trump at the top, always calls them illegals, infiltration, invasion, because that's why they floated the idea, hey, can we shoot them at the border? No, that's murder. That is murder. And then
it is absolute murder.
But they don't care. These sanctity of life people don't care because they dehumanize them so much that they can see them as quote unquote vermin, as Donald Trump has called them, poisoning the blood of our soil, as Donald Trump has said. They are just animals, so we can put them down, as these individuals have pointed out, have said multiple times. And it is sad, but that is the reality of what the GOP is doing in its messaging.
Pro-lifers.
But the thing is, they're leaving out critical information and context of how hard it is to get across. For example, some of these individuals that are crossing have been sitting for 3 years in Mexico or in other areas in these consulate areas, these safe havens, escaping already, but can't get across because he can't get processed. Catch and release.
The other problem that we're not being told is all the deaths that have occurred crossing at Eagle Pass. Back in October, there was such a mass of people trying to cross over, refugees. And again, no drugs on their bags, no weapons. They just want a safe haven, just like anyone else from another country. And there was such a mass of them. I read a report on this in October that they couldn't even count the bodies. They didn't count bodies because they were ashamed, I'm sure. But it's the federal government trying to help. I don't think we need to turn our back on humans. I think being inhuman is not the answer to fixing this border problem. I think we can be humane and fix the problem, but we just need to be proactive.
The thing is, the best way to fix it is to understand that these individuals are seeking help, and these individuals can help our society. Immigrants themselves had put trillions into our budget. They have provided us trillions, not just they've done this and they're taking. No, they have actually added trillions to our budget. They have brought money in. And so we have to understand that these individuals are seeking help, and we can bring them in. We can nurture them and get them to understand, okay, well, here they have the lowest crime rate. We forget about that. They have a lower crime rate than native born Americans. So they're not trying to break the law. They don't have drugs. But hey, let's give them a job and an opportunity, and then let's help them provide for us. Hey, they could be the next big time contractor to create another building, or next doctor that could help cure an ailment that hurts our society. But instead of looking at those individuals, those immigrants coming across the border as people who can help us, right now we're looking at them as attackers, people who are just coming to take our jobs. What jobs? Jobs that you're not going to do in the first place. You're not going to be the one to go out there. They're helping us. They're starting businesses, and they're doing things that we're not doing. And you're not cleaning homes, not at all. They're helping us out in that way. They're also starting businesses in that way. I mean, they're doing everything capitalism wise, but we're like, no, they're taking our jobs. No, they're doing stuff that you're not.
And we're the ones and the rich who are making these laws, and the government are the ones who initially brought them in for cheaper labor or, servant type labor in the beginning. But they do all of our farming that we don't want to do. They do all of the things that our people are just too above the bar to do anymore, and we need to change that. And this has just been a beautiful talk show today, and I hate to wrap up early, but unfortunately we're going to have to go, and we'll see you next Monday. But don't forget to check out our Pod TV bookstore and our merchandise. We are trying to start to monetize so that we can pay all the lovely people who donate all of their time here to bring you this wonderful information. We also have 4 new cleaned up channels on Amazon and Roku, as well as a new platform that we're filming off of. And so we want to thank all of our viewers for watching us and supporting us, over 2.4 million of you. And thank our 2 beautiful producers. Don't forget to go watch their shows during the week. Love you all, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Take care. Take care, Sasha. Take care, Jatovi.